What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Barbell Brigade Talk Show. I'm Bart. We're here with Silent Mike and Nadeem. One of the biggest arguments that we see online in fitness, and especially in the powerlifting world, is sumo versus conventional deadlift.
Yeah.
Just to shut everyone the fuck up, should everyone just pull sumo at a meet?
Oh, I thought you were gonna go the other way.
Maybe if they separated, like, how do I say? No, because then.
The reason why I went this way is because everyone goes, yeah, it's the easier, it's so easy. I'm like, well, if it's so fucking easy, then why don't you do it too?
So that's what we made a big
So
argument.
everyone should do sumo?
Everyone do sumo.
Because it's easy?
Well, because that's what they're complaining about, right? They're like, of course you could do that.
Yeah.
You're pulling sumo. Then
Who's
why don't
complaining?
you pull sumo? The fucking
Everyone.
haters.
So we did make a small argument, half troll, half argument. Shout out to my girl Avi Lou, one of the strongest chicks on the planet. And Avi did a video with me, and she talked about how sumo's harder. And so easier and harder are weird adjectives, right? Because when
Well, if it's harder, why does she pull conventional?
because it's more technical, right? So we mean it's harder being more technical, but it allows her to move more weight. But it takes more work mentally and physically to get
The
good.
skill set is harder, but then the leverage is easier.
Potentially,
Yeah,
right?
I
And
see
so
it.
like that's our argument.
We did a whole video on that.
My biggest argument in general is just that when people say cheating, and the definition of cheating is easy to find, meaning to me, and I'm sure it gets more complicated, but it's breaking a rule. So cheating where? Every powerlifting federation allows you to pull sumo. Therefore, it's by definition not cheating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like that's just the easy point. It is an interesting thing because you can't really look at other sports. Maybe like a granny shot in basketball would be the only other thing where people do a form that's so different from everyone else, or there's two ways to accomplish the same goal, right? But other sports, everyone shoots a basketball the same, everyone swings a golf thing the same, they all throw a football the same.
Everyone else is conventional.
Yeah, like
In the sense of, like, what's standard to
right.
everyone.
Yeah, there's one standard form
If
that
you just told
everyone.
someone to pick up this weight, they would
Right.
never naturally go into a sumo position.
But because
It looks whack.
it's standard.
Because it's fucking weird. And
Yeah,
like,
like,
it is
when
hard.
The legs all wide and shit.
It's standard in every other sport because it's the most proficient way and efficient way to do it. We shoot a basketball like this because it's the most consistent
So
way.
you're saying
Maybe.
everyone is gonna go sumo because it might be the
Maybe.
most proficient way to lift weights?
Maybe.
Well, remember when we first started powerlifting, barely anyone did sumo.
Yeah.
Now,
'Cause you don't wanna get beat up after.
95% of the people in, like, USAPL, from what I'm making up right now, does sumo.
Especially if they're of Asian descent as well.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of Asians in that sport, but everyone does sumo.
Yeah.
Everyone, because I feel like it is harder to learn, but once you get used to that, you can lift more weight.
To be honest, for me, sumo's fucking hard. That's why I don't do it. It's fucking hard.
Back in the day, it was maybe a similar split to now, where because you wore powerlifting suits, whether it be single ply or multiply, the suit would help you a little bit more in sumo. And as Bart likes to call
you
them,
could just stretch it out a little bit more.
right, you
wide
actually
hips.
get assistance in your hips. And as Bart calls them, I would never call them this. Bart calls them the fat guy athletes that
I
are
never
the
said that.
athletes.
I never said that.
It was a little bit easier to get to the barbell. When you get a little bit of a belly in the way and you're a little bit thicker, maybe shorter armed, it's hard to pull conventional. It's hard to get in a good position. But
If you're
sumo,
wearing a suit.
both.
No, it's way easier to do conventional as a big guy. That's why all big guys, none of them do sumo.
No.
He's talking about in a single ply.
No,
what I'm
even
saying.
even raw. If you have short arms and a big gut, it's hard to get into a good position in
But
conventional.
that's why, like, if you look at all the big guys in both USAPL,
Like Dan Bell. He pulls conventional.
Everyone pulls conventional, but they have to do that roll method to get
Sometimes.
in position.
Sometimes.
Most of the time, to think,
Yeah.
like I think Jesus does it.
Those are just bad examples though, because they're really good conventional pullers.
No, well, I don't think they can pull sumo.
I don't know, but why would they if they're already pulling 81 conventional? Is my point.
I think they would be able to pull 1,000.
I don't think so. I don't think. See, that's where I disagree. I don't think sumo and conventional are clear black and white easier,
Not easier.
or black and white be able to lift more weight.
I think for most people, if they're training for a super long time, they would be able to pull more sumo.
Yeah. See, I don't think so.
What about for the advancement of the sport? Do you think it should be just one so it's easier for people to understand?
I think in one sense, to kind of agree with the haters, yeah. Because like I said, in any other sport, there's like one more proficient way that everyone does.
Sumo or conventional?
Either. I don't really care.
The other parallel is Olympic weightlifting. most people split jerk.
Yeah.
But there are a few squat
Yeah.
jerkers that are super up there
But the
too.
percentage is so small, I think. It's way smaller than sumo versus conventional.
Well, but there's also things in the rules. There's not like there's different forms, but it's just about getting the weight up. So however you get it, there's only two things about like, well, you can't. There's no like lockouts,
Press out, yeah.
press outs and stuff like that. Well,
And that's kind of like deadlift.
Yeah.
You got to bring it to your ground and up.
I guess if you want to do a half conventional, half
I was
sumo,
going to
you
say,
can.
what if you could? Are you allowed to Jefferson deadlift in a competition?
Yeah.
So you don't lose all your sponsors.
I've never seen it.
I used to Jefferson.
No, I know, but in a competition, I've never seen it.
My back was like that rounded that I would do that.
No, Jefferson's when you're straddling the bar.
Like what Kai Green does to train his hamstrings.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the one that you're like this? Yeah, where it's like, I thought that was Jefferson.
What's this one?
Well,
no.
no, you can't fully lock out that way.
I think you could.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you
Smash
could.
the bar into your
Unless
nuts.
you're
If you had long enough arms, you could.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, is there a rule?
I don't know.
What about the one that you're just behind the back?
That's a real hack squat or hack deadlift, yeah.
So you're saying you don't think there's a hard definitive, this one's easier, this one's harder. What is your take on what makes like sumo or conventional easier or harder?
Some of it is musculature, right? Like the sumo, if you have a little bit shorter femurs, a good mobility, longer arms. If you have long arms and a short torso, you'll probably be good at either of them. Someone like Ed Cohn, right? Ed Cohn pulled like 901 sumo and he's pulled 881 conventional. Basically the same damn shit. It's a little more quad dominant and positioning dominant and technical dominant to pull sumo. But if you got a big old back, big old ass, big old hammies and long arms, you're gonna smash, right? Like Benny Magnuson, a lot of the strongmen. A lot of people have pulled, even Jamal, right? Jamal's pulled 1,000 sumo. He's pulled like 980 conventional. Like
Yeah, without a taper.
if you're good at deadlifting, you're probably gonna be good at either.
Yeah. What do you say that he's about to do the, what's the Giants League?
Yeah, Giants Live. Dude, you trying to go? I'm trying to go to the
What's
UK.
that?
Giants
It's
Live.
like a strongman event.
It's a strongman deadlift only head-to-head event.
And he said
Jamal's
he has
Every
to do
single year.
conventional.
He's the first powerlifter to go. It's always strongman. You have to do conventional. I think you can use straps and you can use a single ply suit.
Is it
It's in an arena. It's
is
lit.
it standardized like plates or is it like some stupid fucking tires?
I think it is standard plates, but it might be a crazy bar. I forgot.
Okay.
Yeah. But what's cool I like about that event is it kind of relate how strong people are. So, because they have just regular people that are just watching and having fun.
Yeah.
And they'll bring them up and they're like, hey, crush this apple. And like everyone, even you get jack guys there and they can't. And you get a strongman that's just like poof. And people are like, so now you're like knowing how strong these people are. Because powerlifting, they have kilos
Yeah.
and stuff like that
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's 4 reds. And then a guy at a commercial gym is like, I could do that. When it's like, well, it's not 405. It's like closer to 5.
Do you think that's why strongman's more popular than powerlifting on the global scale?
Yeah, because it's just freaks of
Yeah,
nature.
you
It's
see
more
him.
digestible.
You see him moving a car, and you're like,
Yeah.
I know cars are heavy.
Pulling a plane,
Yeah.
like picking up a keg, picking up a fridge.
I do enjoy the, not to get side tangent, but the original concept of strongman is like the original concept of MMA, where it's like wrestler versus kickboxer. That was strongman, where it's like football player, bodybuilder, martial artist, who can move that rock.
Yeah.
The idea of that's so cool, but now sports have advanced so much, no one's like a specialist like that. Everyone's kind of just
Well, I
good.
think because if you get that, there's like, okay, who can move this car? Whichever way you move it, you're clearly stronger if you can move it or
Yeah.
not, right?
Yeah.
Compared to powerlifting where it's like, okay, you have sumo or conventional, where the sumo pull-up pulls this, and the conventional was like, well, technically I did a sumo,
That's
so
why I
it's
kind of
easier or
yeah.
harder.
And
it's
then the
like-
weight classes and all this
Yeah.
shit. That's why I do agree a standardization, and I could care less if it's conventional or sumo, but I wouldn't be against making everybody pull sumo.
That's also the other third option that I would consider, like going with the whole strongman example. I actually like strongman deadlifts. So if someone needs to fucking hitch or shimmy or do
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah. Get it up.
Yeah, if that's the, I think that's what makes it where like you have to lift this in this form,
Yeah.
and that's where the argument happens. But if you're like any form, as long as you lock your hips and your knees out, and so throw the strongman deadlift in there, then I would be like any form can
Here's
work.
a take for that. So CrossFit's similar when you verse it versus weightlifting. When they do a competition, typically it's just bar to ground overhead, and they literally say that.
Yeah.
Where weightlifting, like you said, you can't press
out.
out and all
Yeah.
these things. What I think kind of draws those lines is one is a contest, a strength contest. So yours would be a strength contest
Yeah.
versus a sport. Sports tend to have more rules, more regulations, more points, etc., dots and all this shit. And so in powerlifting, maybe it's more of a sport when you can't hitch and you have to do this and that and that. Whereas if you're saying, get that off the fucking ground, who does it best?
I feel like it's
Now
the
we're in a
opposite.
contest.
I feel like powerlifting is a contest compared to a sport.
No, I disagree because actually, like even strongmen, they'll call it a show or a contest.
They might call it, but I feel like in a contest where like powerlifting would be, I feel like it's very specific compared to a sport where it's like get that thing up.
No, I think it's the opposite. Because think about like basketball, soccer, football. There's so many different rules. Offsides, this, what type of ball, all these dimensions. The dimensions of the court have to match. Sports are way more specific. Think of a pie eating contest. There ain't no rules.
Yeah.
Eat the fucking pie.
Would you say though,
Get the
like,
pie in your gut.
If you had to make the sport only like one lift, like you had to choose, would you say conventional or sumo?
I would say,
Everyone pulls
I
sumo?
think if I had to, for the growth of the sport, I think conventional.
Because everyone can do it.
Because everyone can do it. I think when people first learn how to deadlift, whether you're learning
need to
in
learn the
PE
hip
or
hinge.
whatever, it's conventional, it's more intuitive, and you want to make things, I think, as relatable as possible versus like, you know, if you're like going to teach someone how to run and you see how fast they are, like there's the karaoke's and all that shit, but then it's people like, they're like, oh, I don't know what the fuck that is, you
It's
know?
a backwards race.
Plus,
Okay.
everyone
yeah.
can do conventional. Like
Yeah.
every sumo puller can pull conventional,
Yeah.
and every conventional puller can pull sumo.
Yeah.
Plus, every bar you can pull conventional, not every bar you can pull sumo.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, now I have to bring my stance in because it's this bar, or it's like I go super wide because I'm a kabuki
And
or
sumo's
whatever.
just ugly.
Okay, I was gonna say, top it off, which, like a very clean conventional pull or a very clean sumo pull, which one do you watch on Instagram or YouTube and you're like, that's lit?
Conventional.
Yeah.
Really?
And no one's gonna complain either.
I personally don't think sumo is, or conventional is like this,
Yeah.
but even when I'm on Instagram, I'm like, sumo. Yeah. Like
Because
that.
no one,
Even though your sumo's 80 pounds less than your
no one
conventional.
complains. No one complains about conventional with someone having crazy leverages, even
Though
bar.
it's true.
It's true, yeah. But with a sumo, you could get a guy that goes super wide.
Yeah.
Still legal because
Yeah.
it's within a thing, but people are like, I don't respect that.
That's crazy.
And they have the longest arm. They're just like,
Yeah, because I think there's a primal thing watching someone,
like a steroid thing.
watching someone like
Raw meat?
race against themselves. So when you're a sumo, your distance of the race
Yeah.
is like 2 inches.
But you've seen some.
Same thing with bench, right?
Yeah.
When you're going like this, you're like,
Like
oh,
the extremes, not all sumo.
yeah. But I'm just
Yeah,
saying, like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah. No, I get it, I
picking
get
an
it.
extreme. Like the range of motion, like powerlifting is like, it's almost like your own drag race, right? So when you see someone close grip bench
Yeah.
500, just visually, you're like, holy shit, look at the struggle.
But if you see some crazy guys like builds and they pull conventional, and maybe it's just because I have a more advanced eye, it looks the same to me.
Yeah,
like
like
they'll be
2
locking out their
inches?
they'll be locking at their knees.
You're making fun of Max Cheney?
Max.
I feel like if you do switch it up from powerlifting or sumo to conventional, you would also have to have the argument about high bar or low bar.
Yeah. That's
And they started to tighten up those rules. I think it was because of Ed Cohn. You can't put the bar too low in the IPF.
And can you roll mid squat?
It can move, but it'll fuck you up more than it'll fuck you up before it gives you an advance.
Oh, I see. 'Cause
You
I was
know?
like, what if you start high bar and then as you're descending, you like.
What if you
I don't
lay
know why
that
you'd
thing
want
on,
to.
on your fucking rumper? If you're mobile enough and I put it on my rumper and then you just fucking doop, beep.
That's real low bar.
That's low
But
bar.
are you gonna break parallel though?
Yeah.
Yeah?
If I could get my arms back there.
No, that's impossible.
You can't tip too far over now, and you can't. There's more rules in the squat than the deadlift.
Yeah?
Yeah, because they won't give you a start command if you're too bent over, and they won't give you a white light if the bar's too low.
Oh yeah, I saw that one guy who's notorious for good morning, and then he had a perfect squat, and then they called it.
Yeah, he got his ass.
See, we don't know where powerlifting's going. Let us know in the comments below. Which one's harder? And if you
And which one's softer?
And which one's softer? And if you had to standardize it, sumo or conventional, put in the comments below. See you guys next time.
How crazy is that? Sumo's harder and softer.
Just ended the video, dude, and you keep talking
Harder and softer.
like this.
Beep beep.